Hello, students. In continuation of the e-learning classes, I am taking forward the topic of the middle ear anatomy, and we are discussing uh, the roof actually. The roof actually. So the roof is. Let me uh, give expansion of this. So we'll. Okay. 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 Yes. So So let me explore the pen first in order to draw something. Draw something, yes. So let me take a pen. Okay. So this is by and large the configuration of the middle ear. This is supposed to be the roof, and this is the floor, which is having a jugular bulb in its course. This is the posterior wall, and you can see the opening which will communicate through editors to with the antrum, another large air filled cavity or a cell in the temporal bone. So another these are two opening in the anterior wall of the middle ear. The superior one is tensor tympani muscle, and the inferior one is the eustachian tube. This will be the medial wall. The lateral wall obviously will be the tympanic membrane. Deep to this jugular bulb or internal jugular veil dilation part, we have got deep to it will be the carotid artery. This will be the petrous carotid artery, which is in continuation of the paraclivis carotid artery, and which is continuation of the paraclivis carotid artery. So next is again the roof is also called as the tegmen tympani. Tegmen means a thin plate of bone, thin plate of bone, and tympani signifies the middle ear. Actually, the middle ear is also called as tympanum, and it extends posteriorly from the roof of the editors and antrum also. So you can see that this is the plate, tegmen plate, and it forms the roof of the middle ear as well as the roof of the mastoid antrum and the editors also. So next is the floor. Obviously, this is already we have discussed that tympanic cavity. The floor is lined by the jugular bulb. Jugular bulb is continuation of the sigmoid sinus. Sigmoid sinus. Sigmoid sinus is a dural sinuses in which all of the sinuses drains. So dural sinuses like transverse sinus, superior sagittal, inferior sagittal sinus, or superficial petrosal sinus, inferior petrosal sinus, or cavernous sinus, all drains into sigmoid sinus, and the sigmoid sinus continues to become a internal jugular vein in the neck. So the anterior wall we are well versed with. This is tensor tympani opening. This is the eustachian tube. This is the tympanic membrane, and you are visualizing the middle ear from the medial side. So you can see the handle of the malleus. This is the handle of the malleus, and this is the incus. This is the incus. The short process of the incus, body of the incus, and this is long process of the incus, which articulates with the stapes stapes bone. Okay. Next is the lateral wall. Lateral wall. You can see the body of the incus and the head of the malleus also lies in the epitympanum. This epitympanum continues through editors into mastoid antrum. This is the mastoid antrum segment. So through the tympanic membrane, you can only see, since the tympanic membrane is a translucent structure, you can see the handle of the malleus and long process of the incus through the tympanic membrane as a translucent structure. Deep to it again will be the carotid artery. This will the muscle or the tensor tympani, and this will be the eustachian muscle, eustachian tube. Sorry. So this is a facial nerve, very important segment in the middle ear. This is the most important wall of the middle ear now we are discussing, and it forms the basis. And in order to identify the facial nerve during surgery or even in the radiology, you have to have a full length anatomical sense of the medial wall of the middle ear, which is the most important wall. Deep to the medial wall will be the internal ear. Deep to the medial wall obviously will be the internal ear. All of the middle ear and the internal ear lies in the temporal bone. Temporal bone. The deepest part of the temporal bone is petrous part. Petrous part. This inflammation of the petrous is called as petrous part is called as petrostitis. Petrostitis. So you can have a external ear inflammation. You can have a middle ear inflammation, which is called otitis media. Outer ear inflammation is called as otitis externa, and the internal ear inflammation is rather called as labyrinthitis. Labyrinth in the sense is a convoluted complex bony structure. Actually, labyrinth is not a bone. When we count 206 bone in an adult body, we don't count actually the cochlea and the semicircular canal in it, because this internal ear like semicircular canals and cochlea are a void space in the temporal bone. Void space in the senses they are air filled space per se in the internal ear, which is occupied by a membrane and a bony surrounding and contains endolymph and perilymph. So internal ear is not a isolated or independent bone. It's a void space in the temporal bone which is filled with certain structures. So these are some important structures in the medial wall. This is promontory, oval window, round window, and this is the tympanic part of the facial nerve. Facial nerve is the most important structure you have to remember in the anatomy of the middle ear, because if you operate in a middle ear, you have to have a complete sense of anatomy of the facial nerve, which transverses through the middle ear in the medial wall as well as the posterior wall. So length anatomy of the facial nerve is essentially the basics of the surgical implication of the middle ear. Next is semicircular canal and processus cochleaformis. Let's see these structures. So this is the dry specimen, a bone specimen, which is explored. All of the this. Let's see. This is a this is a topic, and this is superior. This will be the posterior. This will be the anterior part. Anterior part. This will be the tegmen plate. Tegmen plate, and this will be the the mastoid part. Mastoid part. So you can easily see that these are the prominent structure. This is eustachian tube, canal of tensor tympani. This is jugular bulb. Jugular bulb. Deep to the jugular bulb will be the internal carotid artery. Internal carotid artery, and this is a processus cochleaformis is hook-like structures about 2 mm superior to the processus cochleaformis will be the emergence of the appearance of the facial nerve, which comes after a 120-degree turn and appears first time in the middle ear. This whitish part you are watching is the facial nerve. This is facial nerve. So the facial nerve enters in the temporal bone through internal acoustic, internal auditory meaters, auditory meaters, along with the eighth nerve, the vestibulocochlear nerve, and the facial nerve enters through the internal acoustic meaters or internal acoustic meaters and uh, transverses the temporal bone through uh, also called as the labyrinthine segment of the facial nerve, then appears first time into the middle ear, just inferior to this processus cochleaformis, about 2 mm. Anterior and superior to the processus cochleaformis will be the appearance of the facial nerve, and here it forms a ganglion, which is called a geniculate ganglion. geniculate ganglion. So this is the most important uh, anatomical dimension of the middle ear, which are which you are watching. These are all cells. These are cells. These are air filled cavity is called as cell, and this large air filled cavity is called as mastoid antrum. Mastoid antrum. Antrum is again a large cavity is called as a antrum, like a maxillary antrum in the maxilla. In the maxilla. So this is a stapedius muscle. This is stapedius muscle. This is arch of the stapes, and this thin part is foot plate of the stapes. This is foot plate of the stapes. So the facial nerve travels from anterior to posterior downwards, just above the processus cochleaformis, and travels posteriorly and takes a turn here, a 90-degree turn. So this part is called a tympanic segment of the facial nerve, and this part of the facial nerve is called as is mastoid segment of the tympanic nerve. In between the lateral semicircular canal, this prominence is attributed to lateral semicircular canal, and the stapes foot plate will lies the facial nerve, or you can say that just above the foot plate of the stapes is the facial nerve in most of the cases. But uh, there are variation which are very common as far as the anatomical sense of facial nerve in the middle ear is concerned. Is very common. You can have a overhanging in the sense is a facial nerve which is overlying the foot plate of the foot plate of the stapes, you can see. So transposition and minor variation in the root of the facial nerve, in the root of the facial nerve is very common. So this is head of the stapes, and it is attached to the head of the stape. This stape is attached to the incus here. So this is called as includostapedial joint. So stapes here, sorry, you cancel this. Okay. So stapes foot plate, stapes foot plate. So this is again a picture, a cadaveric dry bone picture. This is, so this elevation is promontory. So promontory, this is stapes foot plate, facial nerve, lateral semicircular canal, processus cochleaformis, and the two opening in the anterior wall, and inferior and posterior to this stapes vibrate into the oval window is nothing but it is closed by the foot plate of the stapes, and the foot plate to and fro a rocking moment is present, in which the stapes vibrate into the oval window. Stapes vibrate into the oval window, push the internal ear fluid, and the internal ear compressed, and by it is relaxes by a window, another window which is called as round window. So the stapes pushes the internal ear fluid, and it is a releasing window is present in the form of round window. Round window, this is not round window. Round window is underneath this shelf of bone, underneath this shelf of bone. So let me clear this. I can. Okay. So another example of this. So this is this tensor tympani muscle, the eustachian tube. This is promontory. What is promontory? Next is what is promontory? Promontory is a bony prominence because of the underlying cochlea, a basal turn of cochlea. So here will be the cochlea, the basal turn. This is the basal turn, this is the middle turn, and this will be the terminal turn or apical turn. Apical turn, 2 and 3/4 of turn of cochlea is present. So the outer one is called as the basal turn, and this prominence is attributed to the basal turn of the cochlea. Basal turn of the cochlea. Then underneath this will be the vestibule. In the vestibule, you have utricle and saccule, these two cavities, membranous cavities, and here will be the three lateral semicircular canals. So this is lateral semicircular canal, this is superior, and this is posterior and superior semicircular canal. Obviously the superior semicircular canal lies underneath this. These are very miniature structures. So underneath this middle cranial fossa dura, on top of this will be the dura. So you can again see that this is the carotid artery. Obviously the facial nerve comes from the internal acoustic meatus through the labyrinthine in the sense between the cochlea and semicircular canal. It travels and appears into the middle ear, just superior to the processus cochleaformis. This is again the facial nerve. And then in the bone itself, it travels in a canal, a bony canal, which is called as fallopian canal. The facial nerve travels in a canal which is called as fallopian canal. Fallopian canal is the canal which houses the facial nerve. The concept of the anatomy of facial nerve, you can't compromise on that, because all the surgery is guided with the facial nerve. So you can see that it appears, it takes a turn, makes an appearance in the middle ear, goes posteriorly, and then again take a 90-degree turn. This is tympanic segment, this is mastoid segment, this is obviously the mastoid cell. These are again the named cells, like perifacial cell or a tip cell, or these are tip cells. And these are zygomatic cell. Deep will be the petrous cells, and these are synodural angle cells, and these are again perilabyrinthine and retrolabyrinthine cells also. So what forms a oval window? Actually, oval window is nothing but a closure of the foot plate. The foot plate vibrates into the oval window. The size is less than half of a centimeter. It's a very small structure, but compresses. If you can imagine that, if we stretches the cochlea in this fashion, if we stretches the cochlea, so this end will be closed by the foot plate of the stapes, and this fluid, when it is compressed, it comes as a releasing window through the round window. So these are the two opening into the middle ear. So in order to make the, you can't compress a fluid, so in order to release the compression, we have another window which is called as round window. This is again a bony specimen, a cadaver bony dry temporal bone specimen, again highlighting the middle ear in detail. So this is you can see the arch of the foot plate of the stapes. This actually is the foot plate. This hole is the foot plate, and above the foot plate and underneath the lateral semicircular canal will be the facial nerve. So this white is a facial nerve. So facial nerve may lie dehiscent also in many cases, especially in this area. You can see that this whitish structure is facial nerve. Many a times, or most of its course is in the bone through a canal which is called as fallopian canal. But many a times, particularly in this area, it may lie dehiscent in the middle ear or open in the middle ear, just covered by a mucosa. So this is a facial nerve, goes like this and then turn like this. So this I think will be the stapedius muscle, and this is ponticulus and subiculum. These are two recesses, and this will be the round windows. So this will be the round window. So this will be the stapes, and this will be the oval window, and this will be the round window. This is arch of the jugular bulb. So middle ear anatomy is the most important in anatomy. In order to proceed with the surgical aspect, middle ear anatomy is mandatory, that you should have a good knowledge of at least of the medial wall, because you are going to injure the medial wall, or the facial nerve in the medial wall or in the posterior wall, if you're not fully versed with the anatomy of the facial nerve. You can see the dimension of the round window is very, very small. It's smaller structure than the oval window, 3.25 and 2.3 into 1.9. So the round window is not through and through structures. You can't see it most of the time. It is hidden under this bony ledge. You have to remove this part of the bony spicule in order to actually look at the round window. But the facing of the, or the lateral wall of the round window may varies. Sometimes it is horizontal, sometimes it is angulated, and even vertical. So the actual, so next is already discussed this facial nerve. It lies in a canal which is fallopian canal, runs above the promontory and oval window in an antero-posterior direction. You are well versed of the fact that it appears in the middle ear just superior to the processus cochleaformis, runs posteriorly from anterior to posterior, and then again takes a turn. This is the tympanic segment, this is the mastoid segment. So this is processus cochleaformis, again the same repetition of all the things which I have said. So this is a very important diagram if in order to look at the facial nerve itself. So facial nerve appears in the middle ear, just this is GSPN, or greater superficial petrosina. Internal acoustic meatus, it enters along with the eighth nerve. This is the geniculate ganglion. Geniculate ganglion is a dilation. Genu is a bent like a knee, and a geniculate ganglion is a dilation of on the path of the facial nerve. And first and second degree of the facial nerve neurons, a ganglion is where two order of the neurons interchange themselves. So it is like a nuclei in the central nervous system. So ganglion in the peripheral system is akin to, or like a nucleus of the central nervous system where two order of the neuron communicates. So you can see it's a little semicircular circular canal. This is the mastoid. Antrum, actually the foot plate of the stapes, arch of the stapes, head of the stapes, lenticular process. This is the stapedius muscle, and the bony segment through which this muscle arises is called as pyramid, bony pyramid. So this elevation is pyramid, then goes back. This is tympanic segment, this is mastoid segment, and it exits out of the temporal bone. This whole is temporal bone through the stylomastoid foramen, and then enters into what? Parotid gland, where it gives 5 terminal branches in the matrix of the, in the body of the, in the matrix of the tissue of the parotid gland. It gives 5 terminal branches and terminates. These 5 terminal branches is called as pes anserinus. Anserinus, which is a configuration is of these 5 terminal branches called as pes anserinus. So this is Jacobson nerve, and this is round window. So when the stapes foot plate compresses, it gives a releasing window in the form of round window, which is a much smaller structure. So thank you very much for being in the lecture. We will talk about some more aspects of the middle ear or internal ear along with the disease in the next class. Thank you very much for your